Episode number 296 of Tennis Podcast is locked, loaded, and ready to unload all over your ears. Thanks for joining us today as we march ever closer to our historic landmark 300th episode, which will be here before you know it. Joining me today is the Joker to my Batman, the Hitler to my FDR, the cancer to my body, Dr. Buster.
Huh.
Huh.
We should dissect each of those metaphors, but I think we'd run out of time. So, I'll just say, hello.
Hello. Buster, where are you coming to us from today?
Your ass.
Okay. Is that like a new planet, kind of like Uranus?
Yeah,
Why didn't they just name it your ass?
Well, first of all, I'm sure anus was already a technical term in English before they named the planet. Couldn't they just have gone in a slightly different direction? Did they have to call it Uranus? And it's not even pronounced Uranus. I've Googled what's the correct pronunciation, and it is, in fact, Uranus.
So you're coming to us live from Uranus.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been aboard a piloted cutting-edge NASA mission, and I'm now on Uranus
Well,
recording
you say
live.
NASA, but by the time this episode comes out, NASA might be completely defunded by then from the new administration, but we'll hope not.
Here's to hoping.
Here's to hoping. Buster, you brought a top 10 list, I fucking hope.
Did I? Did I bring a top 10-ish list?
Every time.
Now, you said top 10. Maybe it's top 10-ish. Maybe there's not exactly 10. Because I am looking at my notes here, and I see that we do have a tie for number 8. So technically it is a top 10, brother, but there's 11 of these categories.
You might say that's where the name of the fucking podcast we're on right now comes from.
By God.
By God, we've cracked it.
Holy shit.
296 episodes in, we figure out why it's called 10-ish podcast.
Nick, tell the folks at home, what is a movie?
No, I won't do it. Would rather die than do it. Literally, if you said, Nick, your life depends on telling this information, because you're the one that asked me to do it, I will not do it.
Okay, that's fine. So while you refuse, I'll talk about the name movie. Makes me laugh because it was, a picture film that just moved throughout time. And so you just tacked on it's a movie because it moves. But, similar to a walkie-talkie, because that's literally, you just walk and talk on it. It is easily portable. So that's what it was called. But we don't call a shoe a footy. It's funny to me how some things get named.
Buster. This is like the Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker doing stand-up and looking around.
It's not stand-up.
It feels like it. You ever think about how fucking mind-blowing it would have been to see the first moving picture that was the whole history of the world? This thing has never existed. You probably never even considered that it could exist. Never even crossed your mind, and then all of a sudden you're seeing a movie play in front of you. Had to have been wild, but let's not get sidetracked. Why are you talking to me about movies, Buster?
Well, we still don't even know what they are besides moving pictures. How would you describe a movie to the lay person who probably has never seen one?
A movie is a collection of... What?
Pictures. Lots of them.
Yes.
About 60 of them per second, in fact.
If you say so, sure. Yeah, 60 frames per second. That sounds right. Yes.
I am right. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's what I just said. You're right. You can't just accept me saying you're right. You have to make it a fucking drawn-out thing.
So a movie is a collection of
moving images. Well, actually, not really. The images themselves are not moving if you want to get technical, right?
That's true.
It's just each individual image put together in such a, 60 of them per second gives the illusion of moving.
Yep. They used to be closer to 30 to 45 minutes long. Now they're roughly 18 hours long on average.
Yep. 23
Nick,
if it's a Lord of the Rings film.
What would you say makes a good movie?
Tits.
When I look at the movies on today's list, I'm not Well, okay, one of them for sure has tits in them, but I think you're going to be sadly disappointed by today's movies if that's your barometer for a good film.
Okay. Are you ever going to tell me, or do you want to spend 18 hours, like the length of a movie you said,
Well, you
beating
still
around the
haven't told
bush?
me what makes a good movie besides
Oh,
tits.
Jesus. Okay. Blood, gore, violence, drama, comedy, death, dismemberment.
So why am I talking about movies or good movies? You might be asking
Still
yourself
don't know. No, I
because
don't know yet.
today we're talking about the top 10 most award-winning movies of the 21st century.
Okay, so the most award-winning movies that have come out in the year 2000 or later.
Yes. So I think it's interesting to think about Oscars versus Golden Globes. Totally different organizations, kind of a
Yeah.
different style to the event. Oscars more formal. It's well, the Oscars are presented annually by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the United States, and these achievements are assessed by the Academy's voting membership, which is nearly 10,000 professionals in the film industry. They're widely considered to be the most prestigious award in this film industry, and the major award categories are presented during a live televised Hollywood ceremony sometime in February or March. So when this episode comes out, it will have been Oscar announcement season.
Yep.
The Oscars are the oldest worldwide entertainment awards ceremony. The first one was held in 1929,
God
year of
damn.
our Lord. And the second ceremony in 1930 was the first one to be broadcast on radio, and the first one to be televised was in 1953.
So I was curious because you were talking about first half of the 1900s here, and so I thought, when was the first like major motion picture release? You know, not like a 10-second silent film, but like an actual like release that you had to go see. And according to a quick Google search, it's 1906.
Damn.
So that means that when the first televised Academy Awards happened, I believe you said 1929, the concept of a major motion picture period was less than 25 years old by that point. It's
That's
just so weird
wild.
because films are just like such a baked in part of life and culture right now. It's hard to imagine life before that, but really, as far as theatrical major wide releases, it's not much more than 100 years old.
I think it's similar to what people will say about the internet. Let's imagine they're born in 2030. They're not going to be able to imagine a childhood, much less any awake period of their life where they didn't have internet access. But their grandparents, great grandparents will be able to tell them about times before internet. And that'll just be a baked in assumption to their life.
Same with Tennis Podcast. Tennis Podcast, it's just this constant in their lives and in culture and society that, wait a minute, Grandma, you didn't have Tennis Podcast growing up? This is what I imagine life to be like in 30 years.
Sure, but the internet and movies have redeeming qualities. They're typically enjoyable, but the tennis pod just, yeah.
So maybe you're about to tell me, but most award-winning films, is this a combination of all awards?
I decided to go with only the Academy Awards,
Okay.
aka the Oscars. I didn't go with the Golden Globes because it hasn't been as established as the Oscars, and so there's not as much of a history to it.
Plus, if I wanted to see some Golden Globes, all I gotta do is look down, right? But also, I think that's okay because I think every single person would agree that the Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, are the top, most prestigious award a film can receive. So,
Sure.
I think that's fine. Let's do it.
Now, I did debate with myself, do I do most wins or most nominations? Because I think that there is merit in itself in just being nominated a lot. But a lot of times, who you're up against doesn't mean that you're not as good of a film. You just get unlucky in your comparison, right?
Yeah.
Many folks would have loved to see Barbie clean house in 2024 was the actual award timing.
Spring of 24. Yeah.
Yes.
But
the movie came out in 23.
Correct.
But none of this happens in a vacuum. It's not isolated. They are pit against other films who came out in that same 1 year cycle.
Well,
so
of course, none of this happens in a vacuum cleaner, Buster. That's ridiculous to even posit that.
Good one. So it reminds me of a lot of films that we'll not talk about today that remind me of something that a comedian that I listened to on another podcast refers to as a Clyde Drexler. Nick, do you know who Clyde Drexler is?
This sounds very familiar.
Clyde Drexler is widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time and one of the best shooting guards of all time. Had a very illustrious career with the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, why do you suspect we don't know who that is? He played at the same exact time as somebody else.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. So who gives a fuck about Clyde? Yep. Now, without Michael Jordan, Drexler would be a household name, but it just didn't end up that way because of competition.
Fuck off, Drexler.
So we call that a Drexler, baby.
So I am guessing films, not actors.
You are guessing the movies.
And I don't know if you ever said for sure. Did you end up going with the most nominations or the most award wins?
These are the winners. Most award-winning Oscar films of the 21st century.
Now, is the animated classic from 1999 starring Woody Allen called Ants, is that number 1 or 2 on the list?
It had so many awards that Wikipedia just excluded it because they didn't want to make other movie goers and filmmakers feel bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, there's so many good movies out there, Nick. I will do a fair amount of, hand-holding through the episode. Wow. So I'll give you some clues to lead you to these things.
Hey, you know what I want you to do with those clues? I want you to shine them up real nice, roll them up into a ball, and shove them up your candy ass. That's what I want you to do, okay? I don't need your fucking hints. I'm going to nail this list.
All right. We'll have your ass eating crow in about 5 minutes flat, bitch.
I'm going to start with a very recent film. And I'm going to put it around number 7 or 8, Oppenheimer.
Is that a candy bar?
No.
Is it like a gobstopper?
A gobstopper is not a candy bar.
Right. That's why it was a second question, because I wouldn't just re-ask the same fucking question.
So is it on here or not? Asshole.
Yes.
Is it number 7 or 8 or close to that range?
Well, you're kind of close, but you got 7 wins, putting it all the way up at number 3.
Give me some fucking credit, because how many thousands of films have come out since the year 2000? And I, on the first guess a non-number 1 movie on this list. I want you to say, Nick, amazing job. I won't say it. You're my role model.
I won't say it because I gave you a heavy-handed hint earlier when I said that Barbie would have got more accolades, but came out in the same year. We all know the phrase Barbenheimer because they came out in the same summer.
I want some credit, but that's fine. Tell me about Oppenheimer at number 3.
Before I do, I will share the tomato meter because I'm a big fan of Rotten Tomatoes. And
so you're a corporate shill. Got it.
Conglomerate data from a wide range of people and not just a couple of sources. So I really enjoyed the tomato meter, which is hundreds, if not thousands of critics. And then I'm also going to give the popcorn rating, which is the audience score. Out of 0 to 100%, what percentage of the general population enjoyed this film? Oppenheimer received the highest popcorn score. Most people enjoy this film to the highest amount, which is 91%. Damn. And it has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means of all the critics who reviewed the movie online, 93% of them gave it a thumbs fucking up.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not familiar, listener, Oppenheimer came out in 2023. It had 7 wins, 13 nominations. What's it about, you might ask?
This is the one where the boy wins the golden ticket in the chocolate bar and he goes to the chocolate factory, right? That's Oppenheimer.
Basic plot summary taken from Rotten Tomatoes. During World War II, Lieutenant Colonel Leslie Groves Jr. appoints physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer to work on the top-secret Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer and a team of scientists spend years developing and designing the atomic bomb. Their work comes to fruition on July 16, 1945, as they witness the world's first nuclear explosion, forever changing the course of history. The critic consensus for this film is Oppenheimer marks another engrossing achievement from Christopher Nolan that benefits from Cillian Murphy's tour de force performance and stunning visuals.
It's kind of amazing that I can't recall another film that tackled this topic before, at least not a major release, and very few events in world history are as important as this one, but yet it,
or as consequential, far-reaching, We're still unpacking.
80 years to make a film about it.
And watching that movie and thinking about all of the increasingly aggressive political nature of our like global landscape, it is wild to me that another nuclear bomb has not been used by the likes of North Korea, Russia, any other country. Just the fact that it's only happened once, well, twice, but on the same day, is just, it's nuts.
Well, that's one of the arguments that they made at the time for doing it.
Right.
Is because the war was all but over by the time they did it. But if we use this bomb, we can show the rest of the world we have this bomb, which will make them not use any weapons against us because they see that we have this bomb. And I guess there's something to that, but it was mostly an event that should have never happened. Well, not just mostly, it should have never happened. But anyway, I do think the next Oppenheimer 2 will be about the nuclear bomb that Trump uses on Canada.
Okay. Looking forward to it. We'll see if Christopher Nolan is willing to tackle the sequel.
I enjoyed Oppenheimer a lot. I liked it. It's a great film. But I did not love it as much as I think others did. I don't even think it's the best Christopher Nolan film, but it was very good.
Yeah, I think we've discussed this before on the pod. I get your criticisms. I understand. Just for me, it's up in contention for my favorite movie of all time.
It's great for sure, but I don't know. Interstellar's better to me, but anyway. Oppie, I knew it. 7 awards.
You knew it.
3. Okay, so I'm going to say no more Nolan films in the top 10, correct?
You are correct.
How about...
Well, The Dark Knight, one of my personal favorite films. I could see it winning 5 Oscars, but it didn't.
How many of these top 10 are like kind of artsy, like...
Artsy fartsy? Or as
like Oscar bait films?
As my dad would describe people in my childhood, rich bitches who fart on silk sheets. I think about that all the time for whatever reason.
I've known you and your dad for so long. I've heard so many of your stories and sayings from your dad, but I don't know if I'd heard that one.
Yeah. So there are 2 musicals on here.
Oh, musicals. The Greatest Showman.
Was that with Hugh Jackman?
Mm-hmm.
Not on the list.
Joker Folie à Deux.
We can hone in on a movie I know nothing about. I watched the film trailer earlier today, and that's the extent of my knowledge.
Give me a year.
2002.
Is this one of the musicals?
It's a musical.
Oh, you know what? Let's come back to that. This isn't the one you were just talking about. This is a musical, though, and that's Les Miserables. Les
Miserables did not crack the top 10 here.
So going back to the one you were the 2002 musical. Are there any animated films in the top 10?
No. Do you want to hone in on this musical? I'd be surprised if you've seen it. 2002, it's about cabaret, and the title of the movie is a major city in America. Chicago.
Knew it. And
have you seen it?
No, I know what it is, but I have not seen it. And I'm going to put this at number 5.
Add 2, bitch. Number 7.
Knew it.
Chicago's number 7. It had 6 Oscar wins. It was nominated 13 times. It came out in 2002. 84% of people who saw the movie enjoyed it. That's its popcorn score. And 87% of critics enjoyed it. What's it about, you might ask? Nightclub sensation Velma murders her philandering son of a bitchin' husband. Yep. And Chicago's slickest lawyer, Billy Flynn, is set to defend her. But when Roxy also winds up in prison, another cabaret dancer, Billy takes on her case as well. So the lawyer's representing 2 different cabaret dancers in jail, turning it into a media circus of headlines. Neither woman will be outdone in their fight against each other and the public for fame and ultimate celebrity.
God, I'm bored to tears just hearing the plot summary.
It stars Catherine Zeta-Jones and Renee Zellweger. Zellweger?
The show. It's you had it right the first time.
And
Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey and Renee Zellweger. Is that number 6? Just kidding. Please continue.
Critic consensus is it's a rousing and energetic adaptation of the Broadway musical. Chicago succeeds on the level of pure spectacle, but provides a surprising level of depth and humor as well.
Yeah. Musicals are just not for me.
Well, since you're so high on musicals, do you want to knock out the other one?
Let's do it. Let's get it over with. What year?
2016.
Is it also based on a Broadway play?
No.
It's not.
It's an original feature.
It's not Cats, is it?
No.
That was
They lost Best Picture this year to Spotlight, starring Mark Ruffalo, which is a very good movie.
Yes.
And it's a movie that I think about all the time when I am reminded about the Catholic Church still existing out there.
Still existing, and, well, just don't even get me started. Is that movie on the top 10, Spotlight?
It is not.
Okay. The 2016 original musical. What the hell could that be? Hairspray or something? Is that?
No, with John Travolta?
Yeah.
If I tell you either of the main stars, you'll get it immediately. But I will tell you it's two household Hollywood names. It's a man and a woman.
Right? Is Ryan Gosling one of them?
Yes.
What's that movie called? I can picture it in my head, but I can't think of the title.
The title is an alliteration.
Yeah. God damn it, what is that called? Okay, I can't think of it. I'm blanking on the name, but I know
Starting with an L.
La La Land.
Yes, you got it. Coming in at number 6.
Knew it.
La La Land coming in at number 6 with 6 wins. Holy shit, let's pray. Pray circle. 6, 6, 6. Okay, I can't.
That is true, because Chicago had 6, and now we're on number 6, La La Land with 6 awards.
Dear Lord, art in heaven,
get the Catholic Church in here. Ask that priest to put that little boy away for a minute and come pray with us.
You need to stop touching that boy and start touching my shoulder and helping me in this prayer circle.
La La Land. More like Bor Land, am I right?
Got him! So 82% of people who saw this movie loved it, and 91% of critics say thumbs up. Sebastian and Mia.
You said that so weirdly.
Sebastian and Mia, played by Emma Stone. We've already established that Ryan Gosling is playing Sebastian, are drawn together by their common desire to do what they love, which is each other. But as success mounts, they are faced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they work so hard to maintain in each other threaten to rip them apart. This is a movie that was boldly unhappy in its finale, and I enjoyed it, and it was unhappy enough that I will admit right here in front of the Tinish.
You cried.
Oh, I bawled my fucking eyes out.
But listen, that's fine, but I just want the listeners, because I know most of the listeners don't have a personal relationship with Dr. Buster, and they don't know how he is in real life. Which is fun. There's nothing wrong with this, but I'm going to educate and inform the listeners that it does not take a lot to make Dr. Buster cry. Which
I cry at more movies than my wife, and this was one of them, for sure.
This is going to sound like a joke, but I'm 100% being serious. The last time I shed a tear in a film was the 1998 Rugrats movie by Nickelodeon, when Tommy Pickles and his little baby brother Dylan, Tommy's mad at Dylan in like some cave or something in the woods, and that brought a tear to my 9-year-old eye. I don't think I've cried since then. Now, that's just because I'm a cold motherfucker that doesn't have emotions, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Critic consensus: La La Land breathes new life into a bygone genre with thrilling, assured direction, powerful performance, and an irresistible excess of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling were also in Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell.
That also an excellent film.
It is. What's the most recent film in the top 10 besides Oppenheimer, which we've already covered?
Then we're looking at
Ants.
2022.
What genre is 2022?
Science fiction.
Space?
No.
It's not Avatar, is it?
Nope. You'll be thrilled to know that Avatar's not on this list anywhere.
Tell me more about the science
fiction. It is a funny and intense assault on the senses. It's an overwhelming movie.
Mother?
No?
That's like the most stressed out I've ever been in a movie theater, by the way. That
I've
movie
heard
Mother
that.
with Jennifer
I've not
Lawrence.
seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Intense.
it's probably going to be too much of a hint, but multiverse.
Oh, Everything Everywhere All at Once?
That's it.
That's number 4.
You fucking got it.
Fucking knew it.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. 7 wins, 11 nominations, came out in 2022. This has the lowest popcorn score on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning less people liked this movie, which I cannot disagree more. Besides maybe Oppenheimer, this is my favorite movie on this whole list. I
Would you
fucking love
believe
this
that
movie.
this movie has been on my watch list since 2022 and I still have not watched it? But
Okay.
I want to watch it. I'm going
Sure.
to watch it. I just haven't watched it.
I don't want to give any spoilers to any of these movies because, listener, I think, it'd be an evening well spent if you watched any of them, but I can't recommend this movie highly enough. We've already established that I cry easily
Yes.
at drama films. This doesn't give away the end of the movie, but I'm crying at the end of the film, and I pause. The movie's not over, but I pause the movie. I turn to my wife and I say, how can I possibly be crying in a movie in which 10 minutes ago I saw someone get killed with a dildo? I fucking said that. And
Yeah.
it's a true statement. Here is the plot. This film is a hilarious and big-hearted sci-fi action adventure about an exhausted Chinese American woman who cannot seem to finish her taxes.
It's funny, like if you end there, it's like, oh, that sounds exciting.
But listener, if you're curious, YouTube the trailer real quick. It becomes sci-fi because she quickly learns that if she hones a particular skill, she can travel the multiverses and tap into alternate versions of herself in different life trajectories in other universes.
Buster, you and I are not scientists. You pretend to have a doctorate, but other than that, we're not. We're just everyday normal people. So what we say here doesn't really matter. But I'm going to ask you, yes or no, is there a form of multiverse theory that is real? Maybe we'll never discover how to jump between them.
Yeah.
But theoretically, could you? Is there different versions of our universe right now?
I don't know that it's to the degree that this movie is making a case for, but if there's one universe, who's to say it's the only one? I think more than one being possible is something you can't rule out.
I'm not asking you to rule it out or rule it in. I'm asking you to say yes or no.
I think there's more than one if I had to place a bet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know there's an infinite, but there's some number of them, and I think it's more than one.
So you think you're smarter than all the scientists that haven't figured this out yet?
Okay. Well, so the scientists are still figuring that shit out, and many of them think there is more than one.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing with them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting thought experiment, but let's not go down that multiverse rabbit hole.
My eyes just happened to glance over this list of Oscar winners, and I saw that The Bourne Ultimatum won 3 Oscars. Color me surprised.
Really?
Needless to say, it's not on this list.
Yeah. Is Matt Damon on this list besides Oppenheimer?
No, but there's a snub that's similar to a movie on this list, and the snubbed movie does have Matt Damon.
That makes me think of how Leo DiCaprio didn't win an Oscar for a long time until The Revenant. Is The Revenant on the top 10?
Now, would you agree that The Revenant isn't even Leo's best performance?
Huh.
I felt like it was kind of a gimme by Hollywood to finally toss him a bone, even though I think he deserved it for Wolf of Wall Street.
Wall Street, yeah.
Or Django Unchained.
Django. I would say those are the top 3. Revenant, Django, and Wolf. And I probably would put Revenant third of those 3. But it's a great movie,
so The Revenant nor Leo are on this list. And listener, if you would like an immediate appreciation for having a climate-controlled home in which you live in, just watch The Revenant.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Jesus
and if you
Christ.
also want to know why you should not have a pet bear, it's another reason to watch that movie.
Or live outside.
Or just exist, period.
Or trust Tom Hardy. Don't do that either.
You know what? Tom Hardy was the best part of that movie. He was the best performance in that film.
Speaking of Tom Hardy. There's a like fucking hint for your ass.
He did like a Western. No, you know what it is? It's Mad Max, Fury Road. Knew it.
What number, smart guy?
Did I call it or what? That's number 9.
8.
But which 8? There's 2 8s. Is it the 8 closer to 9 or the 8 closer to 7?
It is the 8 closer to 9, so I'll give you that.
You know what? I gotta admit, like, I love Mad Max Fury Road, great movie, but it seems so out of place compared to all the rest of these, doesn't it?
It does, but you know, I have I even wrote this note down because I wanted to mention it. Mad Max Fury Road, starring Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, is proof that just because you are an action movie, it doesn't have to be empty, poorly written, or not contain great plot.
Yeah.
Like
another great example is Fast and Furious 10. Same thing applies there.
This movie, it's an action movie, right? From start to finish. And even that in mind, critics hate action movies. This has the highest critic rating of any of these movies on today's list, with a 97% tomato rating.
God damn,
from
that's
Rotten
huge.
Tomatoes. That's fucking wild. 86% of people enjoyed this movie. They gave that shit a big old thumbs up. Came out in 2015. It had 6 Oscar wins, 10 nominations. It did not win Best Picture. It lost to Birdman.
Come on.
Starring Michael Keaton.
Do you remember who you saw Mad Max Fury Road with into the theater?
I'm going to say I'm supposed to be saying yes, and that was you?
It was me. You and I saw it in Denver. I came up to visit you in Denver. That time that we hiked, you were with She Who Shall Not Be Named. And we saw Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay, there you go.
It's good to know that my friendship and our bonding time together at that movie had such a lasting impact on me.
Incredibly forgettable. So for those who've not seen it, what's it about? Years after the collapse of civilization, the tyrannical Immortan Joe enslaves apocalypse survivors inside the desert fortress named the Citadel. When the warrior Imperator Furiosa forges an alliance with Max, played by Tom Hardy, a loner and former captive of the Citadel. Fortified in the massive armored truck named the War Rig, they try to outrun the ruthless warlord and his henchmen in a deadly high-speed chase through the wasteland.
I love that most of the film is literally one giant chase.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, just describing and reading that, you might think, oh my God, this is another dime a dozen action movie. But, I mean, proof in the pudding, it won 6 Oscars. And what an intense movie, and just it's crazy.
Did you see Furiosa? The one that came out like a year ago-ish?
I did not.
Yeah. See, you love Mad Max Fury Road, so why didn't you see that one?
I don't think I'm alone in this sentiment, but I'm tired of sequels. I just am. Did you see it?
No.
Okay.
But I thought of another sequel or its original that might be in this top 10. Is Dune anywhere on here?
Okay. Where do you think Dune came in on this list?
It's the first Dune, right?
The first Dune.
8?
Dune 2 will be in the upcoming Oscar cycle.
Dune number 1 is number 8 on this list.
You're guessing it's the other number 8.
You have a hearing problem? Do I need to repeat everything I say on this episode, I should just say it twice now just to make sure you hear it?
I fucking hate you.
It's right.
It's another number 8.
I knew it.
83% of audiences said they sucked this movie's dick, and 90% of people who saw the movie in the audience loved it. It came out in 2021, 6 Oscar wins, 10 nominations. It lost Best Picture to Nomadland, starring Frances McDormand. What's it about? Paul Atreides is a brilliant and gifted young man born into a great destiny beyond his understanding, and he must travel to a dangerous planet in the universe to ensure the future of his family and his people. As malevolent forces explode into conflict over the planet's exclusive supply of a precious resource, only those who can conquer their own fear will survive. Have you seen Dune?
As I just said on that top 10 highest grossing films of last year episode with Stephen Clark, we talked about Dune because Dune 2 is on that list. And I have been putting off seeing either Dune because I wanted to read the book first. And I still haven't read the book, and I don't know if I will anytime soon. So I might just say fuck it and watch the movies anyway. I've heard they're great.
The average person may watch Dune and think, holy shit, this has a lot in common. Like the background environment context has a lot in common with Star Wars. There's just so many similarities. You might be fooled into thinking, well, Dune is unoriginal and just copied Star Wars. Sorry. Sorry, Star Wars fans, but George Lucas himself has admitted that he kind of took a lot of things from Dune.
Yeah,
Dune came first. Frank Herbert came out in like the 1950s. Star Wars
I feel
was
that
20
same way
years
when
later.
people talk about Stranger Things and It.
Right.
But anyway.
Dune is an amazing source material. And I can tell you that Dune, the first movie, is the only movie I watched twice in a row back to back. My wife and I, we saw it one night. We loved that shit so much, we watched it again the next day.
I have never done that once.
I never have either. That's the only time I've ever done it. And I know you just talked about it on a recent episode, so we won't spend too much time on it, but one anecdote I always say about Dune is never have I witnessed a movie that packed so much intricate plot into such few words. There are not many words said on screen, but you have to infer so much from just a couple of sentences, and I thought, holy shit, it couldn't have been done better. That's one of the things I loved about it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Critics say Dune occasionally struggles with its unwieldy source material, but those issues are largely overshadowed by the scope and ambition of this visually thrilling adaptation.
And of course, if you want to hear about the AMC released popcorn bucket that had the sandworm you could also have sex with, listen to our top 10 highest grossing films of last year episode.
The sandworm in the bucket of popcorn, spoiler alert, was just Nick's dick. He just cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Every popcorn bucket, I just ran to whoever was eating out of that bucket, shoved my dick in real quick, and then moved to the next one.
Well, I wondered why you had such a busy year in 2021, and I put 2 and 2 together today.
Before I guess another one, can you give a quick recap of where we stand so far?
No. You're gonna guess one.
Gonna say that.
You're gonna guess one more because I control the flow of this list, bitch. And then we'll recap.
Fine. God damn it. Are there any war-related films?
War.
As in,
what is it good for?
Did you get that out of your system?
Absolutely nothing. Yes, there is one war movie on this list.
Which war? Not the movie, but which war is it depicting?
Operation Iraqi Freedom.
The Hurt Locker?
The Hurt Locker.
Come on, give me some fucking credit here. This is amazing.
That's good. I don't know if I'd use the word amazing, but
number 2.
You just found out why I haven't used the word amazing, haven't we? Not number 2.
Oh no, it's not. I thought I nailed it. 5.
It's second from the bottom.
Number 9. Okay. For some reason, I thought I remembered it cleaning up. Maybe it just got nominated a bunch.
So 6 Oscar wins, 9 nominations. It came out in 2009. This is all the way up there at 96% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. That's fucking good, especially for a war movie. An 84% audience score. Staff Sergeant William James, Sergeant Sanborn, and Specialist Eldridge are members of a bomb disposal unit in Baghdad. As their tour of duty enters its final weeks, the men face a set of increasingly hazardous situations, any of which could end their lives in an explosive instant. Have you seen this movie?
Yes. I mean, it's been a very long time, but I did see it.
Do you remember liking it?
I do.
You're not a war movie guy.
I'm neutral on it. I don't like run to every time I see a war movie, but I'll watch it here and there. What about you? Did you like it?
I've not seen it. I want to now that I've seen the trailer. Any of these films I hadn't seen, I watched the movie trailers this morning, and yeah, I liked it. I like the trailer. I need to see the movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I like seeing Jeremy Renner being like the front man for a Oscar-nominated film because I feel like he's always kind of more of a supporting actor.
Yeah. Well, he does great in the movie. He's like a bomb, whatever you call that. Like
he's
the opposite
the fucking
of a
bomb.
Detonator. But there's a big twist ending. I guess I'll give a spoiler here. A giant snowplow comes out of nowhere and runs him over at the very end. And he becomes... Buster's not laughing because I don't think he gets the joke here. That happened to him in real life recently.
Oh. I thought you were going to say he was actually Osama bin Laden.
That would have been funny too. Oh, you know what movie I'm kind of surprised isn't on here is Zero Dark 30, the movie about capturing Osama.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Now, was that Barack Hussein Obama or?
He's not even American, bub.
Critics say it's a well-acted, intensely shot, action-filled war epic. Catherine Bigelow's The Hurt Locker is thus far the best of the recent dramatizations of the Iraqi war. I've not seen this film, so it just reminded me of the only time I've been in a movie theater. Have I told the story on the Tennis Pod? The only time I've been in a movie theater and experienced a standing ovation was when I watched The American Sniper, the dramatized film of Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
And was it a good movie? Yes. Am I your typical like super patriot nationalist? No. And it just like really bugged me that of all the great movies out there, that's the thing that gets a standing ovation in the crowd. I didn't really stand up, nor did I applaud. I just was like, this is fucking weird.
I haven't seen that movie, but you sharing that story reminds me of another guess where I had a similar, different but similar experience at the end of the movie. That's The Passion of the Christ.
Nick's personal favorite movie.
Is that on here?
Is that the annual Christmas movie you watch with your kids?
No, this is the one with a little puppet named Billy, and he puts him in traps, and they have to saw off their own foot to get out of the trap.
Passion of the Christ, not on the. I bet it didn't even get nominated.
I'll bet it got nominated.
Let me see. Nope, didn't even get nominated.
Didn't even get nominated, really. I've said this to you before, but I'd like to watch that again because when I saw that movie, I was like 15 years old. It was in theaters, and I was a Christian believer at the time that I watched it. And now that my life and viewpoints are so different, I would like to watch it again just to see. You know they're working on a sequel?
What's going to happen in the sequel?
I believe it's after he rises from. I don't remember. I'm going to look it up. Passion of the Christ sequel. Yeah, it's called Passion of the Christ Resurrection. Coming out it's coming out this year, 2025.
It probably near Easter, I'm going to guess.
Let's see.
That'd be a fucking great release time of the year.
April 18th. So
yep, there you go.
No. Sorry, pre-production is April 18th. I guess.
Oh, okay.
This might not come out this year. IMDb is kind of being confusing about it, but yeah, I guess it hasn't started filming.
They're still looking for Jesus in order to ask him to apply for the role in the movie.
All right.
Okay, so let's recap. Number 10 with 5 Oscar wins. You do not have.
I haven't guessed number 10. Okay.
Right?
Right. I thought you were about to say it, and I was like, no, don't say it. I haven't guessed it.
This ain't my first rodeo, bub.
Well, sometimes I wonder.
So 10 is a mystery. 9, Hurt Locker. 8, a tie between Dune and Mad Max Fury Road. Number 7 is Chicago. Number 6, La La Land. 5 is still hanging out there. You've not guessed it. 4, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 3, Oppenheimer. And you've not guessed the top 2.
Hi everyone, Stephen Clark here with a special message about that huge gaping hole in your life. I know, I can see it. There's just something missing that's not letting you find that inner peace and happiness. Well, listener, I too was like you until I discovered that thing that's been missing in my life. That thing that plugged up that huge gaping hole nice and snug. And that's more Tennis Podcast content. You can get more Tennis Podcast content to plug up all of your holes now, especially your ear holes, with a Tennis Pod Plus membership. Tennis Pod Plus is available on both Patreon and Apple Podcasts. Membership includes early access to all episodes of Tennis Podcast, and every single episode is 100% ad-free, which means members are skipping this very ad right now. Yep, they're spared from all of this talk about me and the gaping holes. But not you. Your gaping holes are also missing out on exclusive bonus content with nearly 80 bonus episodes available right now, with more added every month. And that's not all. You will also get Dr. Buster's exclusive monthly mini podcast where he recommends a book in 10 minutes or less. And if that's not enough for your gaping holes, then you'll also get free merch and swag, access to our members-only Discord channel, and you can upgrade for more perks too, like a monthly blooper reel. So what are you waiting for? Plug yourself up with 10-inch Pod Plus now. You can even get a free 7-day trial. To sign up, just take a few seconds and go to 10inchpod.com/plus. That's 10ishpod.com/PLUS. If you're an Apple Podcast listener, you can also sign up with just a few taps on your Apple Podcast page. Get ready to skip terrible ads like this one with 10ish Pod Plus.
Are there any Tarantino films on here?
Unfortunately, no. I think there are
Spielberg?
multiple Tarantino films that deserve 5 Oscars.
Are there any Spielberg films in here? There's got to be.
No.
Right? Really? Brad Pitt.
Is Brad Pitt in any of these movies?
That I have not guessed yet. Yeah. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
I laughed that you guessed that because it is close, but I think it only has 4.
All right. Well, give me a hint that's not super obvious.
Okay, I said that one of Christopher Nolan's movies got snubbed, and it's very similar in environment, setup, and theme for the story as number 5 on this list.
The movie that got snubbed, or the movie that snubbed?
The movie that's actually there is number 5.
The Martian.
Oh, that's a great guess. So it is in space.
So Interstellar's the
Interstellar got the snub. Yep.
Oh, is it Gravity, the movie with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock?
Gravity. You got it.
Number 5?
Number 5.
That's too high. I mean, it's a fine movie, but it's not the 5th best movie of the 2000s.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
What's your assessment?
Well, I only saw it once, and I remember thinking, it's a pretty good movie. But it was kind of like a popcorn movie. I enjoyed it while I was in it. Probably not going to think about it much after I leave the theater. But maybe if I saw it again, I'd change my mind, because this was over 10 years ago.
I've only seen the trailer. I've not seen the movie, and the trailer gave me fucking anxiety. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So it had 7 Oscar wins out of 10 nominations. It did not take Best Picture in 2013. That instead went to Argo, which is a movie starring Ben Affleck that I know nothing about.
I remember that one.
This is a tie for the lowest audience score. Only 79% of people, moviegoers, liked Gravity. The critics loved it, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. What's it about in space, you ask? You fucking bitch.
What's it about in space? I ask, Buster.
You bubbly ass son of a bitch. Dr. Ryan Stone is a medical engineer on her first shuttle mission. Her commander is veteran astronaut Matt Kowalski, helming his last flight before retirement. Then, during a routine spacewalk by the pair of astronauts, disaster strikes. They start having sex in space.
They wanted
The disaster is how
Clooney.
terrible the sex was.
Yeah.
The shuttle is destroyed, leaving Ryan and Matt stranded in deep space with no link to Earth and no hope of rescue. As fear turns to panic, obviously, Jesus, they realize that the only way home may be to venture further into space.
I think they're being dramatic. It's not that big a deal. Buster, if you got stranded in space, because they're, Sandra Bullock's character is floating in space, like not tethered to anything. Not,
and she's she's spinning a lot too, right? Which she can't stop spinning.
If that happened to you and you were stuck in space, all you have to do is start booty clapping, and you'd propel yourself, and you could probably make it all the way to Earth's surface if you just booty clapped enough.
I better have like 10 parachutes because the G's I'll be pulling when I come into Earth's atmosphere after booty clapping all over the place. I might,
G's.
I might cause a global climate crisis.
Well, I was gonna say there might be some like hurricanes and shit after effects after that, tsunamis. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's a risky. It's it's a dangerous game.
Anyway,
Buster, quick pause to ask you a question. You motherfucking son of a bitch asshole. I have a fucking question for your enormous fucking ass.
Okay.
Do you like to use some bitching swear words and curse words? How do you feel about those? Do you like those?
I mean, I don't know that I like them or dislike them, but I certainly use them. I mean, I have in this episode so far.
Well, you're not alone, because many of our favorite actors in Hollywood love to fucking swear too, and we're going to celebrate their asses in our latest bonus episode. It's the top 10 actors who cuss the most in their films.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
Me and that jackass Stephen Clark cover the top 10 in our new bonus episode, available now for 10ish Pod Plus members. If you're not a member, signing up is super easy and also includes ad-free access to all episodes like the one you're listening to now. Sign up on Patreon or right within the Apple Podcasts app. Check the episode description on this episode for a direct link and get a 7-day free trial.
That's a fun listen idea.
I know it.
I also would love to know, how did they comb through all the data to figure out that answer?
You have to listen to the episode on 10ish Pod Plus, bub.
I'll be damned.
And the great thing is, with the free trial, you can listen to that episode for free right now. I have another George Clooney guess, since he was in Gravity. Is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou in the top 10?
Great guess. Great movie. Not on the list.
Gone Girl with Ben Affleck.
No, not on the list.
I just need 10, 2, and 1. What year did number 10 come out?
Oh. Wow, I actually didn't write that down.
Cool.
Hold on.
Listeners,
Hey.
Do you have maybe a sleeping grandpa in your family somewhere that could take Buster's place as a
2000.
host?
It came out in 2000, so it barely made the cut.
2000.
It's the oldest movie on the list, de facto.
Gladiator.
How'd you know that?
You know that I'm good with dates. So when you say the year 2000, instantly my mind's going through movies that came out in 2000, and I just watched Gladiator 2 last night.
You watched the sequel? How was it?
It's really good. Not as good as the first one, but good.
See, I'm 0% interested. I just can't do the sequel.
It's good.
I'm not interested.
Okay. Well,
So
you watched Dune 2, so you're full of shit, but okay.
You're right. I did see Dune 2. However, I will say that I liked Dune 15 times more than Gladiator. I saw Gladiator once. I don't get the hype.
Buster thinks he's
It was
better.
good.
He's got more film critique experience than Roger Ebert and all the critics that love that film. You listener, if you like Gladiator, you're an idiot, according to Dr. Buster.
This is coming from the motherfucker who just 30 minutes ago said, "Oh, I know everyone loves Oppenheimer, but I just don't get it."
No, I said I like Oppenheimer too. I really enjoyed it, but it's not even the best Nolan film. That's what I said.
I like Gladiator as well, just not as much as Dune.
Well, okay. Those are two.
I'll take your apology now. Do you want to write it to me, or do you want to send me an email?
I want you to.
God, fucking damn it! All right, so Gladiator, 5 Oscar wins out of 12 nominations. It came out in the year 2000. It has the lowest critic score of any of the movies on this list, only an 80% critic score, and 87% of people who went and ate popcorn during this movie fucking loved it. What's it about? Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, takes power and strips rank from Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, one of the favored generals of his predecessor and father, Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the great stoical philosopher. Maximus is then relegated to fighting to the death in the gladiator arenas in a seek for revenge.
It's a good movie. Buster can fuck off.
The critics say that while not everyone will be entertained by Gladiator's glum revenge story, Party of One, right fucking here, Russell Crowe thunderously wins the crowd with a star-making turn that provides Ridley Scott's opulent resurrection of Rome, its bruised heart. Brutal
Good movie.
opening scene.
Yep.
Talk about starting on a low note.
Or a high note, depending on who you are.
You're sick, sadistic ass. By who needs Pornhub when you can just kick on the first 10 minutes of Gladiator?
When you can just flip on the first 10 minutes of Gladiator, he says.
That's Nick Emel.
Funny, the state of Oklahoma has banned certain porn websites, but they're fine with you watching gratuitous violence in films.
Absolutely. Sign him up.
Okay, so I just need number 2 and 1. Are there any Lord of the Rings movies on here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it was true.
Is it just one of them that made the list?
Only one.
It's going to be Return of the King.
That's correct.
And it's going to be number 1.
That's correct.
Knew it.
Lord of the Rings Return of the King is number 1 on the list. It's the only film that won all of its nominations. It got 11 wins out of 11 nominations. It came out in 2003. 94% critic score for Rotten Tomatoes. 86% of moviegoers loved it. The culmination of nearly 10 years' work and the conclusion to Peter Jackson's epic trilogy based on the timeless J.R.R. Tolkien classic The Lord of the Rings Return of the King presents the final confrontation between the forces of good and evil fighting for control of Middle-earth. Hobbits Frodo and Sam reach Mordor in their quest to destroy the One Ring, while Aragorn leads the forces of good against Sauron's evil army at the stone city of Minas Tirith.
Nerd alert.
We know Nick's not a fan of Lord of the Rings, so we don't have to cover that. But I will say, when it comes to raw enjoyment of the movies and what I think your typical Oscar-winning film, what its composition is, I'm surprised that The Fellowship of the Ring, the first of the trilogy, is not higher than Return of the King. And I wonder if Return of the King gets a lot of the credit by closing up all the loose end stories that the first two set up so well.
Well,
and I have here that Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first movie, it had 13 nominations. So it did have more nominations, but it only had 4 Oscar wins.
Which could be, what you were saying at the start of this episode, could be more about its competition than its own merits.
That's true. I have to agree with Viggo Mortensen, the actor who played Aragorn, who said he thought the movies declined in heart and original quality as the series went on because Peter Jackson relied more and more on CGI instead of practical effects, and he leaned heavier into the elements of action to tell stories instead of character-based storytelling, which I can't agree more. I think the first movie does that the best, and it just gets worse through time.
To play devil's advocate to that, like when you've built up one story over 2 48-hour movies, 48-hour length movies, and you finally get to the third one, it's like the climax. It's all been building to that. You expect more action in that one.
I do get that. However, the hardcore fans of Lord of the Rings who've read the books will know the brevity of the actual battle for Minas Tirith in the books is about 3 pages long because Tolkien is worried about world building and the characters more so than the actual battle. And that
doesn't always translate to the screen, though.
I know, but it doesn't have to take up the entire film, is my point.
Yeah.
Spend more time on the resolution. What does it mean to pick up the pieces in Middle-earth after the battle's over with?
Look, I think you and I can agree that sort of thing is deeper. There's more meat to it there.
Oh,
but as far as
meat.
As far as being a successful film in Hollywood, I think it panned out that the right decisions were made. Not saying it's better,
right?
But saying I get it.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I fucking love Lord of the Rings. I love Return of the King. I've read the book series twice, and I can still say that I like the films, extended versions, for the real ones. I like them better than the books.
Really? Yeah.
I do. I think they're great complements to each other. I think each of them make each other better if you can kind of like Venn diagram them and you can just pick your favorite shit in the middle of the two. But huge fan.
Peter Jackson's done some other shit. Is there any more Peter Jackson on number 2?
No, and if you out there are wondering, Buster, what's your take on the Hobbit films? I pretend they don't exist. I love the Hobbit book, but the Hobbit trilogy is a complete waste of everyone's time.
Wow.
And I have not seen Rings of Power. Never heard good things about it.
Is Peter Jackson behind the Hobbit films? I thought he was.
Yes, he did. He did that trilogy as well. One short children's book turned into 3 movies. You talk about overuse of CGI and unnecessary action. Look no further than The Hobbit.
Hollywood's gonna Hollywood, bub. Don't know what to tell you. What's So I just need number 2.
Number 2, last film on the list here.
Give me the year.
2008.
So that would have competed with The Dark Knight. All right, give me the genre.
Well, I would say drama, but I think that's obvious. Most of these are drama.
So it's not like sci-fi. It's not war.
No.
It's not fantasy.
No.
Romance?
No. Well, it doesn't start out a romance, but you find out about halfway through the movie it is about romance, and it does end on a feel-good love story.
Tom Hanks in this?
No.
Who's the big star?
If I tell you that, it'll give it away immediately.
How could it give it away immediately? Because any star that's in a movie this successful has been in 100 other films too.
All right, Dev Patel.
I gotta remind myself who that is.
He's an Indian actor.
Oh, it's Slumdog Millionaire.
I told you, brother.
Yeah.
That's a giveaway.
Knew it. Talk about a movie that didn't live up to the hype for me.
Did you like it? You didn't like it?
I did like it, but kind of like how you thought of Gladiator. Like, pretty good, but
yeah.
I don't see what, people are calling it like the best film of the decade and all that stuff, and I just didn't see that.
8 Oscar wins, 10 nominations, 2008. It did take Best Picture that year. Fucking pisses me off that this is better than The Dark Knight, but whatever, man.
Mm-hmm. Was Dark Knight nominated for Best Picture?
I don't know.
He's going to look it up, folks. Don't worry.
I had 2 Oscars, 8 nominations. Yeah, it was up for Best Picture, but it did not win. Sons of bitches. 91% tomato score for critics. 90% of moviegoers loved this movie. As 18-year-old Jamal Malik answers questions on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, flashbacks show us how he got there. Part of a stable of young thieves after their mother dies, Jamal and his brother Salim survive on the streets of Mumbai. Salim finds the life of crime agreeable, but Jamal scrapes by with small jobs until landing a spot on the game show. And we later find out halfway through the movie, he's on the game show so that he can reconnect with the love of his life from his childhood. Visually dazzling and emotionally resilient, Slumdog Millionaire is said to be a film that's both entertaining and powerful. Now, one thing I will say that I did enjoy about this movie, if you've ever been playing trivia with a friend and you're surprised at like, how the hell would you know that
I don't
item?
Have friends.
This movie does a good job of painting the odd ways in which life experience would allow a person to handle trivia questions well. You know, not everybody who goes on Jeopardy is successful because they spend all night thumbing through dictionaries and Googling shit. A lot of it's just really good memory and life experience. And you learn about the main character's life in a non-linear fashion as he's answering each of the questions on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And it's just like, damn, that's a really neat way to lay out someone's life story.
Yeah.
And he knows the answer to every question because they all relate to some previous memory in his past.
It is interesting. It is a good movie, but is it the second best movie since the year 2000? Not for
No. So there you have it.
I did pretty well. I mean, let's just.
You always do well. We've established that guessing top 10-ish lists is a soft skill. It is a transferable skill that can be developed, and Nick Emel has that fucking skill. There is no doubt.
Buster, as we go through this top 10, when you recap it, which you'll do because I tell you to, it's not your idea, it's my idea, and I'm telling you to do it. At the end, I want you to tell me your favorite of the ones you've seen, and of the ones you haven't seen, which one you want to see most. And
you're going to do the same.
Yep.
Throwing out marching orders.
Well, you are the sidekick, and I am the host. So.
God. You make me fucking sick.
You make me fucking sick.
You make me puke. All right. 10, Gladiator. 9, Hurt Locker. And that's not a sex position, everyone. 8, it's a tie between Dune and Mad Max Fury Road. 7, Chicago. 6, La La Land. 5, Gravity. 4, Thing Everywhere All at Once. 3, Oppenheimer. 2, Slumdog Millionaire. And 1, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Favorite movie amongst these, I'm going to have to say Oppenheimer. However, the fucking closest second, and I mean the margins are in nanometers, is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's hard for me to decide which of those movies I love more, Oppenheimer or Everything Everywhere All at Once. Listener, I beg you, I implore you, if you've not seen either film, you've got to stop what you're doing tonight, cancel those fucking plans, and watch these movies.
Well, if you're watching Oppenheimer, you might need to cancel. You might need to cancel the next few nights of plans, given how long it is. But yes, go ahead.
Of the movies I've seen on this list, which of these is my least favorite? I'll probably say Gladiator.
You're a fucking idiot. Which of the ones you haven't seen, which one do you want to see most?
Well, I only have not seen Hurt Locker, Chicago, and Gravity. So I'm going to say Gravity.
Yeah. So my favorite movie of the ones I've seen, maybe Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay. Least favorite of the ones you've seen?
Least favorite that I have seen, Lord of the Rings, for sure.
Okay. And which one do you want to see the most?
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
You've legitimately got to tell me after you see that movie. I can't wait to pick your brain about it.
I'm going to text everyone that we both know and tell them my thoughts on the movie, and then I'm going to not tell you, and I'm going to make them swear on their children's lives not to tell you what I say either.
Well, looks like the prayer I said right before I went to bed last night came true.
That I won't talk to you anymore.
That's right. Praise fucking be, and it finally happened. And we only had to do a top 10-ish list about the most award-winning movies of the 21st century, folks. You heard it here.
Listener, I'd love to know what you thought of this list. Me and Buster shared our favorites, but I want to know yours. Hit me up on social media at 10ishpod. You can also comment your favorite movie directly in the Spotify app. And if you're a 10ish Pod Plus member listening to us ad-free right now, you can also let me know in our members-only Discord channel. And I want to remind you as well that new bonus episode where we talked about the top 10 actors that fucking cuss the most in their movies, that's out right now. You can listen to it right now. Buster, what else do you want to say before we say bye-bye?
Go see Everything Everywhere All at Once at your earliest convenience. It's on Netflix.
And my parting words will be Gladiator's a great movie. Buster doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.